Today's episode is sponsored by Walmart, the best place to buy emotional barriers. If you're like me, you often went to Walmart to buy Superior Extra in 3-packs, at least up until 2024 when Fujifilm switched to whatever this is. And again, if you're crazy like me, you still went to see if that cost-effective 3-pack might have Superior Extra on it once more. And if you didn't have glaucoma for eyes, then you may have seen these in the same aisle. Today we're going to talk about my experience with this camera and judge this point and shoot on the merits of style, build quality, daytime shooting experience, sunset shooting experience, and nighttime with flash. And I'm going to tell you whether or not I think you should buy one of these for yourself, or maybe 2 or 3 or 4 or 5 or 6 or 7 or 8. Let me explain. Back in 2023, Walmart had just begun to throw these out on store shelves in their photo and camera section, and I tried to buy one twice. But both times, after the camera didn't ring up, a Walmart employee told me that they couldn't sell me the camera, and literally took the camera right out of my hands. And that was the first time in my life I actually felt like shoplifting, but not because I couldn't afford it, but because they literally would not sell it to me. So when I came across an eBay listing for these trend-chasing products, I was quite surprised when I could get 8 of these for the price of 1.5 of what Walmart was charging. Just $30 and change later, here we are. Unfortunately, the film inside would be better used as a fruit by the foot after some underpaid Walmart warehouse worker probably left every single one of these boxes at the top of the oven on broil for the last 2 years. And there's a couple of articles posted online with results shown from the included film. So being that that is charted ground already, we won't be talking about the included film. Instead, we'll be ditching this fried roll of sushi and replacing it with whatever this is. At least these cameras aren't being shipped with ECN2 film like some other point and shoots from Amazon, but I do find it curious that this film has a purple emulsion, a purple base. So if you were curious what it looks like, there you go. It kind of has a shocking resemblance to Cinestill 400D, I would say. So let's get to shooting. I took this camera with me on a weekend camping trip, which happened to be the perfect outing to test out this camera. Focus-free, f8, and full of plastic, this lens is pretty dull. These images are extremely soft, and we're getting a lot of vignetting. It looks like we're getting a little bit of barrel distortion too, so not very flattering on close-ups. In the daytime, exposure is pretty good, but honestly, film has enough latitude that if I have to judge the quality of a point and shoot by the low-hanging fruit of exposure capability, then I might just delete this channel. Baseball game of a glizzy. So I ended up using flash on this photo, but if I hadn't, then it would not have worked out. It would have been extremely underexposed, and this kind of goes without saying, but if you're using a point and shoot in any condition darker than broad daylight, you should probably just use the flash. You know what? Just use flash all the time. Daytime, nighttime, when you're on the surface of the sun. The flash is controlled by a simple on-off switch, and every time I turned it on, it worked. In the past, I've used other disposable point and shoots, and it never seems like the flash works. On the top of the camera, you get a relatively soft, but for some reason, two-staged shutter button. This button, however, can be described as mushy at best. Regardless, when you take a photo, you'll know precisely when that happens because of the distinct plastic clink of the shutter, almost like it's aspiring to be a Pentax 6.7. It could almost be described like the difference between the sound of a Ford GT versus a very obnoxious Civic with a straight pipe. The film rewind knob is easily the worst thing about this camera. Every time I needed to pull the film out, I had to pry open the rewind knob with tweezers, keys, and screwdrivers because it's so firmly friction mounted in there that pulling up on the lever like you're usually supposed to do on other cameras, it just feels like it's gonna break. The viewfinder is on par for a plastic point and shoot, but I'm not entirely certain that it matches the 28mm focal length of the lens. It looks to be a little more like a 50mm focal length, but maybe that's a good thing if you constantly find yourself invading people's personal space. And if you wear glasses, good luck trying to frame anything up in this. You'll just be seeing maybe a 75mm frame line. For its style, overall, it's not an ugly point and shoot. Lauren says it has a plastic fake wannabe vintage, very toy-like style. But if you can get one of these for $3.75, are you really going to get all that worked up about the looks of it? I didn't really use this camera at night, so I guess not a very scientific test, but I didn't feel like I had to use it at night specifically because I just knew that it wasn't going to work. Instead, I took some interior photos, and while the exposure is on point for these portraits, probably due to the lab doing very well at correcting the exposure, the shadow fall off is very harsh, and it seems that the flash on this lens has a very narrow distribution, and the vignetting doesn't help that harsh fall off of the flash either.
Where's Dad? If there was a spot for a demon to steal my soul, it would be these bathrooms.
So,
You're that a great mistake. So now that's like a hair of mine that I just singe off my eyebrows.
Yeah, I'm trying to grow my hair back. Singe it.
You know, my honey's in my ginger.
So that's about all you need to know about the qualities of this point and shoot. So with that being said, let me run you through a few of the examples where I think a pack of 8 of these would work pretty well. Weddings would be a great place to use a bunch of cameras like this, especially if you like the harsh flash look in dark venues or if you're having an outdoor wedding. Another one would be family vacations. These are a very cheap way to get everyone holding a camera, especially if you're out hiking, doing something. Just remember that you replace the film. Another instance could be stress-free outings where you want to take photos, but you don't want to take the time to think about the process. And the last thing that I think these would be useful for is to just buy in bulk a lot of cameras that you can use and abuse and not feel guilty when they break. Because one way or another, Walmart plans on sending these to the landfill. So, should you buy these things? As with anything, there's qualifiers, and you ultimately have to make the decision for yourself. But for less than a roll of Velvia 50, you can have 8 cameras that are fun, easy to use, and most of all, cheap. Just make sure you don't use the film that comes inside of it. I personally think that Fuji and Kodak point-and-shoots offer better quality lenses, but will cost you a pretty penny in the end. A penny that you probably could have spent on an actual second-hand camera from eBay for the same price. Yes, you can get cameras on eBay for around $30. And not just rinky-dink point-and-shoots. You can actually get a decent SLR for $50. So, if you need 8 point-and-shoots and aren't super concerned with quality, pick up a pack of these on eBay before they dry up. If you liked this video or just enjoyed me wasting money on something I pretty much knew was a bad idea from the outset, go ahead and hit that like button. And if you want to see more film photography videos like this one, subscribe to the channel. I do this stuff for fun. And if you got into Bitcoin early and don't know what to do with your splendors, you can throw some coins this way and make this monkey dance. Super thanks would be the way to do that. Anyway, that's all. Thanks for watching. Bye.